Okay, looks like it's 6:30 sharp, so we can start our BAFF Talks session. Welcome everyone who is joining us for the first time, and welcome back for those who are joining us for not for the first time, but who is back and who are enjoying these nice evenings with us with our BAFF alumni. So today, BAFF Talk session is about marketing and digital marketing. And today we'll have it a little bit shorter. We have two speakers from Latvia and Lithuania. And as always, we'll have 20 minutes for presentations, and then we'll have the remaining time for your questions and answers. This time we had done it a little bit different. So we had some of your questions or topics suggested that you were able to suggest them in the registration form. So the ladies will cover at least some of those topics and questions because our time is quite limited. So definitely we cannot cover all the questions and topics because we had a very many of suggested topics. So as always, we are welcomed by BAFF Alumni Council, and today also we have a representative of BAFF Alumni Council, Catherine Liebert, who will say a few words for all of you. So, Catherine, it's yours. Oh, I'm sorry. By the way, may I ask everybody to mute your microphones so that we have good sound quality, and you will be able later on, if you would like to say something, some question, you will be able to unmute yourself. But for now, please, while presentations are going on, okay, so that we have. Sorry, Catherine. So yes.
Yeah, no worries. I was going to say the same anyway. So, hi everyone. Just wanted to extend a very warm welcome on behalf of the BAFF alumni community. Our community is several hundred alumni strong these days, all across the Baltics, and today you'll hear from two excellent marketers. It's always great to hear about their experiences, and I look forward to all the conversations that today's talks will spark. We have a good, again, nearly 50 participants, so I'm not going to take up any more of your time, and I'll pass it on to the speakers now.
Thank you, Catherine. So today, as I said, we have two beautiful ladies from Baltic countries, and we'll start, as always, traditionally from the north to south. So today, the most northern point of our geographical location is Latvia. So we'll have with Kristiāna Salzdirne, who is product marketing manager at Printify, but I'm sure that Kristiāna will tell a lot more about herself just in a second. And also, I would like to encourage you to put your questions, if you have any, in the chat box so that we can address them later on at the end, after both girls will say what they wanted to say, so then we'll address your questions. Okay, so please, Kristiāna, the floor is yours, or actually the screen is yours, and you can start sharing your screen, and we are eager to hear what you are going to say.
Hi everyone. Nice to really see all the faces, at least from those people who are sharing their cameras. Let me share my screen. Okay, actually, it seems that I have some technical difficulties. Could we actually switch over to Rasa? Sorry for that.
All right. Hopefully nobody will be against that. Okay, so we'll start from south to north in this case. Then it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker from Lithuania. That's Rasa Simimaitė, who is working in marketing and growth at Teachers Lead Tech, and she also is co-founder of online, correct me if I'm wrong, online shop of zero waste products that is called Nula. Is that correct, Rasa? More or less. Okay, more or less. So yes, Rasa, please share your screen now, and hopefully it will work. And you have 20 minutes for your presentation, and then we'll go back to the northern country
Sure, let's give it a try. I hope I will not have any difficulties with that.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, can you see that?
Sure, yeah.
All right, I decided to make it colorful because we have some very gray days here in Lithuania, probably you too. So here are some colors from me. So hi everyone, my name is Rasa. Always a pleasure to take part in BAFF events, and really happy to see some of the familiar faces that I really miss, and those who I don't know. Nice to meet you, and I hope that you will find something useful and applicable in these presentations that we prepared for you. So when I was asked to share something about marketing and digital marketing, I was thinking how to wrap up my experience. And I thought that I will just come up with 10 lessons, 11 lessons, because today I added one more. So 11 lessons from my experience in marketing that might be applicable whatever you're doing, whether you are a marketeer, maybe you are a wannabe marketeer, or maybe you're working in absolutely different fields. I think it's always very beneficial to have at least basic understanding of marketing, and maybe you will find something that you can apply in your organization as well. So just for you to get the idea where I come from, and yeah, just to show my background, my professional journey started in the 90s when I founded a flower shop and a casino, which was a remote casino. So my dad doesn't catch me. And I think that he still doesn't know that his 6-year-old daughter ran a casino in our small town. And he will never probably find out that. So that was the moment when I understood that I really like working on new ideas and grow some products or services from very scratch. And that pattern follows me until now. And when I started studying, I started interning at marketing agencies in Lithuania, Thailand, and London. Later on, founded a video agency with my friends, Turbo Video, which is still is running today. And that is when New York and BAFF happened, where I spent a year working in marketing research company, Insights Consulting, and I'm gonna be talking about that a bit later. When I came back to Lithuania, I spent 1.5 years freelancing, mainly in fintech field. And later on, I moved to shared mobility, to CTB, as a head of marketing and communications. And I'm very happy that we finally all know, I hope so, all know what CTB is, as it arrived to Estonia and Latvia as well. And later on, I moved to education field and started working at Tech Creativity Academy, which later grew to Teachers Lead Tech, EdTech startup, where we are building a product, a learning space for primary school teachers, where they are learning how to create with technologies so they can bring it to every kid in the classroom as a normal 21st century skill. So we launched a year ago, and we are now looking for opportunities to grow to other markets as well. And at the same time, I'm growing Nula, like Ingrida said. It is a platform for sustainable products and ideas. So I'm sharing this just to show that I'm not really focused on one marketing tool or area, but rather, I gathered quite a bit of different business models, different approaches, and different markets as well. So I'm happy to share the lessons that I am bringing from there. And I will skip my the beginning of my professional journey, all the casino stories, and I will move straight to New York and share some lessons from there. So how did it go in New York while I was interning, thanks to BAFF? Well, first of all, besides it being one of the most amazing year in my life, where I met really great colleagues that I am happy to still keep in touch with, my best friends from the Baltic states, and at the same time seeing all the amazing places in New York and in the States as well. It also was one of the most enriching and challenging professional year in my life, where I joined Insights Consulting, a marketing research agency. And I joined them when they were kind of kicking it off in New York. They had the headquarters in Belgium, and they were starting up their branch in New York. And to me, it was ideal because I really like joining teams in very early stages. But at the same time, Insights Consulting had already quite big brands as clients, and they would do qualitative research for them. Let's say some of those brands would have some challenges in communications, or some of them wanted to innovate the products. So what we as an agency would do, we would employ, or we would find the audience, the target audience. We would have our platform, research platform, as a social network, and we would, following our methodology, run a research by talking to them. And that was very direct contact to clients, at the same time trying to bring the most useful insights for those companies, whatever their task was. Let's say some of them wanted to innovate the product and wanted to find out what their clients would think about it. Some of them wanted to come up with best ways to entry markets, new markets. So we would research that. Some of them wanted to rebrand and see how audience would react to one or another tone of voice or rebranding strategies. So that was also very different angles that I happened to work on for these brands. And probably the main lessons that I got from there was, first of all, talk to your customer and let them show you. And this is super simple, and I would even say cliche advice from a marketeer, because it would be in first 5 pages of any marketing handbook. But I still see that still very often forgotten. Whenever the problem comes, usually teams gather up, and product team have their own opinion, marketing have another, engineers another, and data analyst another one. And in the end of the day, it seems that actually no one went there and asked the customer. So as simple as it sounds, I think you have to bring your customer to any meeting, and of course, not literally, but bring their perspectives, bring the insights from customers, and that is not so expensive and so difficult to do sometimes. And by saying let them show you, I literally mean let them show you. I remember one of the cases in New York when we were working with a pharmaceutical company, and they wanted to innovate their packaging. And we would ask their clients whether they find their packaging easy to open. And the client said, yeah, no problem. I find it super easy. It's okay. And we asked them to show us how they open that, whether they can post a picture or a video. So what we saw is was a client squeezing the bottle in between 2 shelves and trying to open the bottle and taking a picture like that. So for him, it was normal. He said he thought that it's easy. You just have to squeeze that bottle in between those 2 shelves and it opens. When we saw that picture, we understood that, yeah, this company needs innovation because, well, design is not very well thought through. So if you have an opportunity, let them show you, or in general, just engage with your clients in any way and form so they can send you feedback. Another lesson was dig deep enough. Probably you all know the rule of 5 whys, where whenever you want to answer yourself a question, whether it's from professional or personal life, you have to ask why 5 times. And that's when you are in research or in brand management or in any marketing task, that might sound super time consuming, but I think that in order for you to come up with a good solution, you have to first invest your time in coming up with the right problem. and that digging deep enough and asking your customers again and again is the way for you to actually formulate the right problem, and after that go into a solution. And that what we would do as a research company, but at the same time you don't have, I think you don't need research company for that as well. You can sometimes just go and talk to customers directly. So these are 2 lessons from hundreds of them brought from New York, and I will cut it right here and move to my other experience, my time at CTB. And my number 1 lesson from there is spend a week or 2 in a customer support. And that is also kind of the same what I just said about talking to your customers. But I remember my first day at CTB when, after meeting the team, I was just sat down there at my laptop, and my boss opened CTB Facebook for me and just asked me to spend a day replying messages. And in the end of the day, he came there and he said, Masa, I know, I'm sure you think you're not hired to do that, but I think it's super important for you to get in touch with your customers and see those messages. And I 100% agree with that. And whenever I go, wherever I go, to other companies or clients, I want to spare at least an hour a week just working in customer support to understand what customers care about, how they talk, what they complain about, what is not clear to them. This task really helped me in a very short time to kind of prioritize at CTB what should I really work on and what can wait. So even if you are not a marketeer, even if you're not a communication person, maybe you're an engineer or product manager or data analyst, I think it's still very useful to spare 1 hour to talking to customers a week. And that, I am sure, helps you to build better products and services. So I think you can apply that in your organization as well. Another one is do extra. We would really at CTB think how we can make an extra step for our customer, whether it would be some kind of complaint or whether that would be something actually very personal for a customer. We would solve all the complaints to our customers' benefits, and that would be sometimes quite expensive, but we would realize that in the end of the day, those few euros that we might lose because we are losing this complaint, it would actually win our customers' loyalty and just respect. So we would always think how we can solve any problem to our customers' benefit. At the same time, we would try to build very personal and close relationships to our customers. Let's say, I remember the case where our client got into an accident and went to the hospital. What we did, we sent our CEO with flowers and best breakfast in town to the hospital to visit her and wish her to get better soon, and just to tell her that she should not worry about anything right now, that we will solve everything. So I think these seemingly small details might look expensive, time consuming, or unnecessary, but I think that would really help us to build CTB as it's known now. Another one is have your own voice. And I put it here because I very often notice how brands and people behind brands, they are afraid of their own voice and try to mimic what is normal in our marketing or in advertising world or wherever. And they are afraid to actually experiment on their own voice and choose to shut it down and better go follow the traditional tones or ways to communicate. So I really advise on just having fun with your communications, unless it's a crisis and unless it's a super serious service where you should not joke around. But if that's not the case, I think that even banks, financial services, they can also be friendly and super chill and sometimes fun. Because in the end of the day, I think we all just want to have a little bit of fun in our lives. So brands are no different. Another one is be best buddies with product, user experience, business development, everyone in your team. I think marketing and customer support is the closest ear to the customer, but at the same time, they have to be the closest ear between also other teams. At least that's what I see, how I see myself as a marketing manager. And the marketing manager should never have their doors closed. It always has to be aligned with what product does, what design does, what data sees, and only then you have to move on with your marketing implementation. So yeah, train your best buddy muscle and be there for them. So that was also a few lessons from CityB, and I will move on to Nula, where, like I mentioned, we are building a platform for all things sustainable, and we want to share also not only products, but also ideas and lifestyles of sustainable living. So I started that with my best friend almost 2.5 years ago. Time flies. And the most important thing, while creating Nula and at the same time managing other businesses or working on other startups, is don't trust your guts, data will tell you. Marketeers tend to be creative people, that's great, but at the same time, like we say, as a marketer, you have to kill your own babies, meaning killing your own ideas. If data shows you that it just doesn't work. So I think that number one thing that you have to learn as a marketeer is actually learn how to work with data, whatever that data is. Maybe you are maybe you are specializing in Facebook or Shopify or Google Analytics. Just see where your data lies and learn first how to work with that, so you can base your decisions and your work on that. And once you learn how to work with data, find that 20% of the effort and those, of that effort and those daily works probably that bring you 80% of results. This is Pareto Rule that you probably all know, and I try to apply that in my professional and personal life as well, seeing what are those golden 20% that brings me 80% of joy, or 20% of tasks that would bring me 80% of the results, whatever my aims and business objectives are at that moment. And I think this is even more important once you work with different brands and try to manage your life as a freelancer, because you cannot do it all. You should not try to scatter your attention and your efforts. Better spend your time analyzing data and digging into those 20%. And another one, always CTA, always call to action. I put it here as well because more and more I see that sometimes brands communicate just for communication's sake. And I think whatever you do as a brand, whatever you communicate and put it there in the world, you always have to put call to action for your customer and state clearly what you want from your customer, where you are leading them, what you want, what you want them to do. Because if you don't do that, you kind of waste your resources, human resources, money, and everything. So be brave and put your call to action so you sound clear and you get your results done. And extra ones that I actually put after I saw your questions that you uploaded for this event. And unfortunately, I saw that a bit too late, but I saw two types of questions. First of all, about different strategies for different tools, like how do you work on LinkedIn? How do you work with outdoor ads right now when people, it seems they don't spend so much time outdoors? How do you do Facebook? How do you do Instagram? So I will not put it in those few minutes that I have left. How should you do that? But I think that the main thing is that you should always think, how can you be useful and relevant to your customer? It should never be one-way communication, I think. Always think about the customer and how you can be useful for him or her in this huge pool of noise and distractions. So even if you are doing something super simple, I think you can also come up with ways to just bring something enjoyable, entertaining, or educative to your customer's life, at the same time bringing your product and service. So whatever you're doing, whether you're thinking about LinkedIn, whatever you're doing about thinking about TikTok or any other channels, I think these two things are always the ones that work. And also show a human side of your brand. I think this is also what customers care about. Don't forget that it's just, in the end of the day, humans behind your brand. And it's also very often helpful to just show what are humans or clients behind that brand, so people can actually better emphasize with you or your clients. And another one, another question that was also very dominant: how to be or become marketing specialist? What skills are needed? What kind of personality you have to have in order to be a marketeer, and so on. And again, I think in all other fields, you should just follow your curiosity. If you're curious about writing, that's great. Follow that curiosity and you will be very much needed copywriter. If you are interested, you're not interested in marketing or not interested in writing, but you're interested in emails, that's also amazing. You will be a very great email marketeer. If you are not decided whether what tool to choose, what area to choose, or what kind of marketing specialist you want to be, try different tools. Try to maybe become full stack marketeer who knows a bit of everything. And I think that is also super useful, because you will be able to understand maybe bigger picture better. And at the same time, what I recommend, just while you're gathering all that information, taking part in different courses and everything, and trying to gather a bit of that and a bit of this, also try to gather the network of specialists that would specialize in those narrow areas that you would be able to bring to a client as a manager, let's say, but knowing where to find specific knowledge when you need it. So that's that. I'm not sure if I still have few moments.
Actually, you don't have any more minutes for a presentation, so thank you so much, Rasa, but I do appreciate all that presentation. It was really very interesting. And Rasa is staying with us till the end of this session. So, and as I mentioned at the beginning, you are more than welcome to put your questions in the chat box. And at the end, if we have still time, so Rasa will be able to cover at least a few of your questions. And now we have to move on. And now we'll give a floor again to Christiana.
Yes.
Second shot.
Yes.
So let's try to do it.
Thank you for sticking with me. This is what happens when you restart the computer and don't check your settings. Thank you.
It happens, but okay, let's try once again.
Thank you, Russ, for the wonderful presentation. I think we as marketeers can definitely agree that this is all of these things that you shared are very, very relevant at all times. Hi everyone, and I'm Christiana, and I would also like to kind of talk about my marketing journey as a career choice. And so how did all of this begin? So I believe you all see my screen, right?
Yes, it's perfect. Mm-hmm.
So as a child, I was always very curious, asked a lot of questions: why, what, how. My parents actually called me kāpēcītis in Latvian, so basically a person who's always asking why. And so I was interested in a lot of various topics, and it wasn't that easy for me to find the things that I really wanted to focus on. And there was always something new to try out. Make it playing a violin, folk dancing, pottery classes, practices in volleyball or something like that. But I guess the real beginning towards marketing was during my school years, when I chose to concentrate on the maths and commercial direction. And each year there was actually a practical task where we built student companies as organized by Junior Achievement Latvia. And this is when I realized that what I enjoyed most was actually doing the market research, coming up with some ideas for products and thinking about the marketing plan, how to really get these products out there and make our customers like them. So yes, moving on. My journey started at SSC Riga, where I joined my business studies. And I really liked that I also had the possibility to go on exchange semester to Liège, where I focused mainly on marketing and management. And after my studies, I started working as category development specialist at Unilever, where I very much focused on data, analyzing data, doing market research, and kind of worked in a department that was between marketing and sales departments. So finding insights, how to ensure that our products are moved in the market, and so on. By the way, Unilever is a packaged consumer goods company that that produces and distributes many products that you might actually know, such as Lipton, Zif, and also Super Viva ice cream, and so on. And so while working there and focusing a lot of data and finding insights, I realized that what I'm missing is a bit more of the creative side. And I decided that I actually want to continue my further studies by doing masters in Amsterdam in marketing. And this is where I also went. I loved the studies there. It was very hands-on approach. We had several companies coming in talking about their business problems, and our student teams were trying to solve those. And after this one, I actually had the possibility to participate in BAFF. And so this is when I went to New York. I got into Brand Assembly, which is a platform that helps emerging fashion and lifestyle designers to position themselves in the market, and organizes multiple trade shows per year, organizes educational and fun events such as panel discussions, workshops, as well as runs co-working spaces in New York and Los Angeles. And there I was mainly focusing on event organization, marketing projects, social media and digital marketing projects. I ran their Instagram page, and also helped with email campaigns. And my proudest moment was actually driving the pop-up store setup in the middle of Manhattan. So that was something really exciting, that where there weren't that many opportunities in Latvia at that time. So this was something very interesting for me, at least. And what I realized while I was there in the US is that there are quite many differences in the work culture. For instance, Americans tend to have this kind of hustle mentality, in that sense that they work long hours, and they actually very much dedicate themselves to the work and really push for individual development while still putting a large emphasis on networking. And this is something that I also see is a very crucial thing for marketeers, that networking is one of the top things you should do, because this is how you actually find out many opportunities and actually establish a lot of potential partnerships, which might be interesting for your customers. However, what in my time in the US was even more about, it was about exploration, finding new sources of inspiration and getting immersed in new experiences. So as also in my professional and personal life, finding those kind of breaks from the daily routine and really going somewhere new or hiking to a new place is I think how I find inspiration. So for me, the journey to the US was mostly successful of the possibility to travel. So this is something I value very, very highly from BAFF as an opportunity. So moving forward to now, I have been working with Printify for a year now as a product marketing manager. And Printify is a print-on-demand e-commerce platform that connects entrepreneurs with a globally based print provider network. And so this means that designers and entrepreneurs that are like-minded can open online stores and offer designed products without actually having the inventory at hand. And Printify currently offers a catalog with more than 300 items, and we are definitely expanding. So only when their customer makes a purchase, the items are printed. So in that sense, it's more conscious about not producing something that won't be used at all. Yes, so there are three main pillars that me and our product marketing team focuses on at Printify, but the directions can be quite different from company to company, because this department is very kind of variously positioned within different companies, within different industries, and so on. So first is the customer lifecycle marketing in the post-acquisition sign-up stage, where we really work on driving customer engagement and retention via email campaigns, in-app announcements, as well as any other marketing campaigns. Then the second pillar is go-to-market strategy creation, where we work a lot cross-functionally with developer teams and product teams, as well as with many other stakeholders, as also Rasa mentioned, that we work, that we as marketeers, we really work with many teams, and we actually need to ensure that we have good relationships to be successful in that sense. And the third point is about research to actually make informed and data-driven decisions in order to not trust your gut too much and really know what you're doing, just really because this is something that the customers need. So yes, here are my 5 key takeaways that I have experienced, and I believe that are very crucial for any marketeer. So the first one, you might know the popular book and TED Talk from Simon Sinek, Start With Why, on the topic of how great leaders inspire everyone in their companies to take action. But entrepreneurship is not the only application for this one, because I really believe that by asking why, you can dig in so many deep topics. You can understand the underlying reasons why customers do what they do. You can understand how you should actually respond to their needs. Because a customer might say, well, I want to sell this specific design just because, and then by asking why, you can really dig in deeper why this would be the most popular and most appropriate approach. The second one is do your research, and really, as mentioned, have the data-driven decisions, understand your audience before you do anything else. And this actually applies to so many things, whether that's user research, whether that's product research when doing making decisions about which products to add next, where to expand further, and so on. The third one is, while it might sound very, very cliche, it's still true, and it's about showing your humanity and really show that you are a person, and the brand actually is also run by people. And even in the digital world, online presence and so on, technology isn't the one making great marketing, it's the people that actually do that and make the human connection. So by showing that you care, you can engage your audience with relevant messaging at the relevant time, at the relevant place. And actually don't be afraid that you sometimes make mistakes, because we all do. And for instance, I believe that some of very successful marketing campaigns have actually built on the mistakes we have done in the past. So for instance, you sent out an email that well, didn't include some information you wanted to include. So just apologize. Don't say that, well, we just say we all sometimes fuck up, and this is what happens. And I think this just makes the brand more relatable to everyone around. So the fourth one is put your customer first, and really show that customer is the king, and whatever you do, whatever your communication is, make sure it's centered around your customers. Think about what the pain points he or she might have, what content would be most useful, what type of communication would be the most appropriate in which case, and just remember that your product is here actually to support your customer and not the other way around. And well, the fifth one is an encouragement to always stay curious and try new things. Be it something that you know already, be it something that you don't. Experiment, because some of the best things actually come from experiments. And you can definitely boost your business and brand and marketing activities via just trying something new. So yes, that's a short presentation from me. And in case you have any questions, you're also more than welcome to get in touch later.
Thank you so much, Christiana. That was really very nice and very interesting to listen, and a lot of fun to watch your presentation with all these little animated moving pictures. So basically, we have quite a chat already in our chat box, and Rasa was even answering a question here and there. But I think we can go back to the questions, and I still encourage you to put your questions in, because we still have a few minutes, and that would be your chance to ask a question that was not covered. So basically, there is one question from Ruta, who is asking, question for both girls, for Rasa and Christiana. Any new experiences and insights you gathered in terms of networking in the new pandemic reality? So, of course, we are all living now in a quite an extreme situation in a different world. So who would like to start? Who would be the first? Maybe, yeah, go. Rasa, Christiana? Yeah, Rasa. Okay.
I can go, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's quite challenging to network with people, and I miss that quite a lot. Probably, I think that the beginning of the pandemic was quite easy because everyone was so quite even excited about, everything going online and even coming up with their own online initiatives, while a month in or 2 months in, everyone started kind of getting tired of online events and being a bit picky where they want to spend their time, because, well, screens are a bit tiring. So I don't know golden formula how to network. I just know that LinkedIn has still, I think, untapped potential, at least in Lithuania. I love LinkedIn myself. All my clients and my best connections work-wise, they come from there, because I still really like how clean it is, how everyone is almost on the same page, what we gather there to do. You can sense the communication ethics there still. And I kind of feel in a very good party once I go to LinkedIn, and it's a very different feelings when I go to other social media. So I really advise to just invest some time and post on LinkedIn something, again, useful and relevant, show your human side, and just go around LinkedIn and connect with people there. If you are relevant and useful, I think people gather around even in the pandemic, and can be a very good networking tool.
Yes, totally agreed. What I can add aside from LinkedIn is that I really appreciate that also at Printify we encourage everyone to turn on their web cameras, so to make the actual communication much easier and more pleasant, because at least you can follow the facial expressions that would otherwise be unseen, and so many things might have been left unsaid without that. So it's not really that much about networking per se, but I think it's a very good approach in terms of how to communicate in the pandemic era currently.
Yeah, thank you, Christiana. Actually, that was the thing that I just wanted to ask our participants. Could you please open your faces so that it's much easier for us to see who is on the other, if you will. Of course, it's not a must. Yeah, thank you. People are showing up. So actually, there was another question for us while you, Christiana, were talking, but I think and Rasa has answered it already on the chat box. But about your favorite field in marketing. So maybe, Christiana, you can say a few words. What is your favorite field in marketing?
I actually saw how Rasa responded, and I hate to copy it, but I kind of also feel like a full stack marketeer, because I have kind of grown from data analysis part, and I believe that really knowing the data before actually doing something is a way how to grow as a marketeer. But currently, what I really love about marketing is the cross-functional and cross-collaborational aspect, so that you are actually quite involved with the product teams, involved with management, involved with support. And this just means that you kind of have the full picture of what's going on in the company and what's going on in the market. So yeah, that would be my favorite thing.
Yeah, thank you. We have one question from another alumna of ours, I believe. And this is, so I will just read a part of it so that you would understand the essence of the question. So both of you mentioned showing the human side of a brand as a major consideration. Could you share some examples of showing the human side in B2B or B2G settings? would like to start with that?
Christiana, you go first now.
Yes. So, sure. I think I already mentioned that by showing the human side, one thing is obviously about admitting the mistakes and actually saying that, well, behind this email, there is an actual person sitting and writing it up. Another thing, what I have noticed that's currently happening on Instagram and Twitter is about the brands calling each other out. So basically, for instance, Burger King tweeting, well, hey, everyone is asking when is the new burger coming? Nobody's asking how the marketeer is doing. And then, I don't know, another brand responding, yes, I feel you, the same. So it's just kind of giving a personality, and as Rasa mentioned, not being like strictly kind of put into the box, and yes, just trying to come up with something a way how to show that there is a person behind the brand.
Yeah, I totally agree. I work with Teachers Lead Tech, like I mentioned, where we are building a space for teachers to learn, but the main buyer is B2G sector. So we are working with municipalities as our main buyers. And whenever the sales happen, we really just want to show what is that person behind that sale, and most importantly, how he or she thinks, so we can inspire that way of thinking in other people as well. So B2G usually sounds very, serious and super official, but again, in the end of the day, it's just the team who work very hard, who think how to innovate as well. So we want to show them as our clients as well. So probably engaging with your clients, like Christiana said, in a very personal and humane manner is one thing, but at the same time, showing faces behind that would be probably the main thing.
Okay, thank you. We have a question from Olga, and it's so thank you for both for great stories, and I'm interested in how you was impressed by the operation of SMU. So that was probably for Christiana.
Yes. So I think it was actually a very good initiative how to propel students to really start thinking about maybe potential business ideas which are not really for making money, but it's more about generating the approach and kind of the passion that you might have later in the career. Because if you already kind of start thinking about those things and entrepreneurship or marketing or finance a bit earlier, you already kind of get a feeling whether that's something you might like in the future. So on one hand, it's very useful for just kind of trying out different things, maybe trying to understand whether that's something you might like to do in the future. And in terms of the operation, is that meant as the organization by Junior Achievement Latvia? So I think they did quite a nice job that they also made those student markets. So you would already start networking on that early age. And that was actually my favorite thing about those student companies.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Christiana. Since we don't have any question as of now in the chat box, I still encourage you to use the last minutes of our session to ask, but from the very beginning, when I will just take an advantage of now chairing this session, and this question is sitting in my head from the very beginning of Rasa's presentation. Casino, online casino. How how this idea can just pop up in the head of 6-year-old girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You have to just
yeah,
tell that story.
Yeah, I wish I had a link where to direct you to, call to action. But yeah, it's now closed. And it wasn't online, it was remote, meaning that it was me and my best friend moving around the town that I was living in. So we wouldn't have a fixed location. Because back then, I think we didn't even have computer. It was 1998, I think. So yeah, we would just walk around so my dad doesn't catch me, and we would offer people to gamble. And before that, I had a flower shop, and I remember when I was having lunch, and I was trying to very quickly eat my lunch, and I was explaining my mom what I'm doing, like how I want to build a small house, decorate it, so we would attract more customers. My mom asked me whether we have a legal permission to sell flowers, because sometimes police checks on other businesses and you have to have legal permission. And that is when, after that lunch, I was super scared. I came back to my friends and I said, okay, we have to close this flower shop. And the same day, we came up with a casino idea because, well, police wouldn't catch us if we walk around, right? So you always have to think of the ways how to get your idea into the world, I think.
Yeah.
I don't encourage for you to open the casino, though.
Yeah, don't do it at home, right? Okay. Okay, and another striking thing was actually in both of your of Christiana's and Rasa's presentation was don't trust your guts, go to figures. So how come? And is there actually, the question is, do marketeers have to have that gut feeling at all, or is just something that it's like not necessary anymore? And how can you comment on that?
I think as you get a lot of experience with the data and you kind of do some research, you kind of already start building up your gut feeling. Obviously, it's kind of a shortcut how to make quicker decisions sometimes, and sometimes it's very efficient, but it's just quite easy to fall in the trap of thinking, oh, well, I have done this research 2 years ago, so I still have the best knowledge about how things work. And this is not the case. And that's why actually I mentioned really to trust your data more than you trust your gut. Obviously, it's a good like a shortcut to use sometimes, but not always.
Yeah, I think maybe I sounded a bit too harsh with don't trust your guts. I think you shouldn't trust your guts, but you should really value them because that is where your creativity comes from. And whenever you have some good idea that comes from your guts, just check that with data. And I really agree that with time and by working with data, I agree with Christiana that it also trains your guts for even better ideas. So don't shut down and shut up your guts. Let them talk to you, but always check that with data.
Okay, thank you. So on that note, we are wrapping up our session on marketing and digital marketing. We are well on time. And I would like just to inform you that this session was recorded and it will be online on our YouTube channel, and actually there will be a link on our Facebook as well. So please come visit our social media, and we would appreciate very much if you like it. Put your likes, put your hearts, everything. So we really like that feedback. And also, as always, we'll be sending to you our survey. So we kindly ask you to fill out how you felt about this session, and if you have any comments. It's always very valuable for us because we always want to grow and to develop our events, this time online, but hopefully at some point we can come back to the normal ones and we can meet you in person. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. So next BAFF Talks will be happening next month, and we will be talking about law. Again, for those who are interested in our alumni talking about their professional field, so this time it will be law, so you're more than welcome to join us. And all the information, as always, will be on our social media, so please follow us there. Thank you so much. Have a great and safe evening, yeah, and enjoy upcoming spring. Probably we'll have spring pretty soon. So thank you so much and good night.